Joining us today is Deloitte Consulting's Michael E. Raynor, author of the groundbreaking book, The Strategy Paradox, in which he reveals why companies whose leaders commit to future success have already doomed their businesses to failure. In a nutshell, what is the strategy paradox?
Strategies with all the characteristics that we typically associate with success are also systematically associated with total failure.
You say that the opposite of success is not failure, but mediocrity. Can you explain?
Sure, I think one of the most surprising findings to come out of this research was the fact that strategies that are normally associated with success look very much the same as strategies that in fact lead to catastrophic failure as well. And so as a consequence, successful strategies and failed strategies look pretty much the same. And things that are the same typically aren't opposites. It turns out, however, that strategies that lead to mediocre financial performance, those strategies look very different from both successful and failed strategies. And so as a consequence, we're led to the rather paradoxical conclusion that it's mediocrity that is the opposite of success, not failure.
This book is quite a departure from your first book, The Innovator's Solution. Can you explain?
The Innovator's Solution is about generating returns. The Strategy Paradox is about managing risk. And when it gets right down to it, I really don't know what other questions in business there are.
Can you discuss how one of the globally known corporate successes, Microsoft, was able to manage uncertainty in its growth period?
If you roll the tape back and look at what Microsoft was doing in 1988, they were really all over the map. There was no one clear strategy that defined how they thought the future would unfold. They had a number of different bets covered. They were looking at MS-DOS, which was their menu-driven operating system. They had Windows 2.0, which was a graphical operating system. They were investing heavily in OS/2, a co-developed operating system with their arch-rival IBM. And they were writing applications for Apple. And those are just the big ones. There are all kinds of other initiatives that are underway at the same time. What I think that portfolio of initiatives demonstrates is that Microsoft was very carefully making investments in different strategic trajectories. There was one underlying strategy that they felt would lead to their success, and that was to command the platform, if you will, of personal computing. And so as a result, Microsoft, unlike many other companies, didn't so much commit to one specific vision of the future, but in fact created a broad portfolio of strategic options so that they were in a position to prosper pretty much no matter how the world turned out.
Michael, is your book only for CEOs?
No, not at all. I spend a lot of time in the book exploring the implications of requisite uncertainty for every level in a hierarchy, whether you're a functional manager, a line manager, whether you're running a division, whether you're the CEO, whether you're on the board. Taking uncertainty seriously has very different but profound implications for how each level in the hierarchy will function. What the principles I've described in the Strategy Paradox do is provide a vocabulary and a set of frameworks for people to really not just accept but in fact embrace their own ignorance of what the future will hold, and nevertheless describe real actionable plans that lead to something you would do today that take that uncertainty and that ignorance, if you will, into account.
You coin a term in your book, requisite uncertainty. What does that mean?
So as you go from the sales manager to the division manager to the CEO of a diversified company to the chairman of the board, you've got longer and longer time horizons. And as a result of those longer time horizons, there's an ever greater degree of strategic uncertainty associated with the choices you make.
The strategy paradox puts forth a theory that, though counterintuitive, proves itself true with countless examples.